Clara Bennett had worked the night shift long enough to know one thing. Nothing normal ever happened after 2 a.m. People swallowed things they should never swallow. Old men tried to leave the hospital wearing nothing but socks and confidence. Teenagers came in with injuries they described as totally not from fireworks. And once, a man rushed into the emergency room claiming his microwave was haunted. Clara did not believe in haunted microwaves, but she did believe in exhausted nurses. And by 2:13 on a rainy Tuesday morning, she was definitely one of them. Clara was 32 years old. She worked at St. Mercy Hospital, an old building on the edge of Portland, Oregon. St. Mercy was not fancy. The elevators groaned. The coffee tasted like warm regret, and the third-floor ice machine made a sound like something trying to escape. But Clara loved the place anyway. It was where people came when they were broken, bleeding, scared, lost. And Clara had always believed that if someone came through those doors, you helped them first, and ask impossible questions later. That rule had gotten her in trouble more than once. Her supervisor, Denise, liked to say Clara had a rescue problem. Clara did not argue. She did have a rescue problem. Stray cats, lost kids, panicked patients. One time, a raccoon stuck in the ambulance bay vending machine. Clara rescued all of them. The raccoon bit her. She still defended its character. On that rainy Tuesday night, the emergency room was almost quiet. Almost. A man in room 3 was arguing with a blood pressure cuff. A teenager in room 5 was pretending his ankle was not broken. And Denise was at the nurse's station filling out paperwork with the facial expression of someone who had given up on joy. Clara stood near the coffee machine, staring into her paper cup. The liquid inside was technically coffee. Legally, maybe. Emotionally, no. Her phone buzzed. A text from her younger brother, Miles. "You still awake?" Clara smiled tiredly. "I work nights. That is the whole job." Miles replied instantly. "Don't forget Mom's birthday dinner tomorrow." Clara looked at the ceiling. She had forgotten. Again. Miles sent another message. "And don't bring hospital cafeteria cake again." Clara typed back. "That cake saved lives," Miles replied. "It ended conversations." Clara laughed quietly. Then every light in the emergency room flickered. Once, twice. The monitor in room 3 beeped strangely. The automatic doors opened by themselves. A cold wind rushed inside. Denise looked up from her paperwork. That better not be the generator again. Before Clara could answer, something slammed into the ambulance bay outside. The entire hospital shook. Coffee jumped out of Clara's cup and landed on her scrubs. The man in room 3 shouted, "I told you the cuff was angry." Clara turned toward the ambulance bay doors. Red emergency lights flashed through the glass. Rain hammered the pavement outside. Then came a sound Clara had never heard in any hospital. A low metallic scream. Like a car accident. If the car was made of thunder. Denise stood. "Clara, I know. No hero stuff." Clara was already moving. "Define hero stuff. Whatever you're about to do." Clara grabbed a trauma kit and pushed through the doors into the ambulance bay. The rain hit her face. Cold, sharp, blinding. At first, she saw only smoke. Then blue light. Then the ambulance bay wall cracked open like something had crashed through it from the sky. In the center of the pavement, beside a flipped ambulance, was a small silver escape pod. It was smoking. The metal was not metal. Not exactly. It looked like glass, armor, and moonlight melted together. Blue symbols pulsed across its surface. Clara stopped. For 1 second, her brain refused to accept what her eyes were seeing. Then the pod opened. A body fell out. Clara ran. The person on the ground looked like a young woman, maybe 20, maybe not human at all. Her skin glowed faintly silver under the rain. Her long dark hair had thin strands of blue light running through it. A delicate crystal circlet was broken around her forehead. Her clothes were not clothes, but a torn white and gold suit of alien armor. There was blood on her side. Not red, bright blue. It steamed when rain touched it. Clara dropped to her knees. Oh my God. The young woman's eyes opened. They were pale blue, almost glowing. She grabbed Clara's wrist with surprising strength. Her voice was weak, but urgent. No soldiers. Clara looked around. What? No soldiers. No government. The girl coughed. Blue blood touched her lips. They will find me. Clara swallowed. Who? The girl's eyes filled with fear. My father. Then she passed out. Clara stared at her. Rain poured down. The pod hissed. Behind her, Denise burst through the doors. Clara! What happened? Clara looked down at the wounded alien girl, then back at Denise. Denise stopped walking. Her face went very still. For several seconds, neither woman spoke. Then Denise said, "That is not covered in the employee handbook." Clara pressed 2 fingers to the girl's neck. There was a pulse. Fast. Strange. But there. She's alive. Clara. She's bleeding. Clara. She needs help. Denise pointed at the glowing alien pod. She fell out of a space egg. Still a patient. Denise closed her eyes. I hate that I knew you were going to say that. Together, they lifted the alien girl onto a stretcher. Clara covered her with a blanket. Denise looked toward the security cameras. We have maybe 3 minutes before someone sees this footage. Then we move fast. Where? Clara thought quickly. Old pediatric wing. Denise stared. The closed floor? No cameras. No patients. No visitors. No working heat either. Clara pushed the stretcher toward the service elevator. She glows. Maybe she runs warm. Denise followed, muttering, "This is how nurses end up in congressional hearings." They got the girl into the old pediatric wing on the 4th floor. The hallway smelled like dust and old paint. Cartoon animals still decorated the walls. A faded giraffe smiled beside a cracked blue door. Clara pushed the stretcher into an unused treatment room. Denise locked the door behind them. The alien girl was shivering now. Her blue blood pulsed from the wound in slow flashes. Clara pulled on gloves. Pressure dressing. Denise opened the trauma kit. Do we even know if pressure works on aliens? No. Great. Clara pressed gauze to the wound. The gauze instantly turned bright blue. The girl gasped awake. Her eyes flared. A pulse of blue energy shot through the room. The lights exploded. Denise ducked. Clara held on. Hey, hey, you're safe. The girl looked terrified. Where am I? Hospital. Human healing house? Close enough. The girl tried to sit up. Clara gently pushed her back down. No. Stay still. I must leave. You're bleeding glowing blue blood onto a giraffe blanket. You're not leaving. The girl blinked. For the first time, she noticed the blanket. It had cartoon stars on it. She looked confused. This is royal fabric? Clara looked at it. That is from our 1998 pediatric donation bin. The girl touched the blanket carefully. It is soft. Her face tightened from pain. Clara leaned closer. What's your name? The girl hesitated, then whispered. Princess Elara Valen, of the House of Astor. Denise stared. Of course she's a princess. Clara said softly. I'm Clara. Elara looked at her. You are a healer? I'm a nurse. Is that higher than healer? Denise crossed her arms. Depends who you ask. Clara focused on the wound. A shard of black metal was lodged under Elara's ribs. It pulsed with dark red light. Clara's stomach turned. What is this? Elara's voice shook. Tracker blade. Tracker? If it remains inside me, my father's fleet will locate me. Denise looked toward the covered window. How fast? Elara closed her eyes. A tear slipped down her cheek. Too fast. Clara reached for forceps. Then we take it out. Elara grabbed her hand. No. If removed incorrectly, it will send a distress burst. Clara froze. Denise whispered, Meaning? Elara looked at both of them. Every warship in orbit will know exactly where I am. Outside the hospital, thunder rolled. But it did not sound like thunder anymore. Clara looked at Denise. Denise looked back. Then Denise sighed. I'm going to regret asking this, but can you remove it correctly? Clara studied the pulsing blade. I can try. Elara stared at her. You would risk your life for someone not of your world? Clara tightened her gloves. You came through my doors. Elara did not understand. Clara gave her a small smile. That means you're mine now. For the next 20 minutes, Clara worked under a flashlight while Denise held the wound open. Elara bit down on a folded towel and tried not to scream. The tracker blade was unlike anything Clara had ever touched. It resisted the forceps. It moved slightly, like it was alive. Every time Clara pulled, red light climbed up the metal. Elara's breathing became ragged. Clara whispered, "Stay with me." Elara's hand grabbed the edge of the bed. "My father will destroy this place if he believes I was harmed here." "That's encouraging. He is not cruel." "Good. He is terrified." "Worse." Elara looked at Clara with wet eyes. "I ran from him." Clara paused. "Why?" Elara swallowed. "Because he promised me to a war I did not choose." Denise muttered. Family drama is apparently universal. The tracker suddenly pulsed. A high whine filled the room. Clara's eyes widened. "Denise." "I hear it." Elara gasped. "It is waking." Clara looked around the room. Old monitors, broken cabinets, a defibrillator cart from 15 years ago, a portable suction machine, a metal basin. An idea hit her. A terrible idea, the kind nurses get when doctors are not around to say no. "Denise, get me the defib pads." Denise stared. "On the alien blade? On the alien blade. That sentence should not exist. Move." Denise slapped the pads onto either side of the wound area. Clara adjusted the charge. Elara looked alarmed. "What is that device?" Clara said. "Human lightning." Elara's eyes widened. Denise leaned back. "I hate human lightning." The tracker whined louder. Clara grabbed the forceps again. On 3. Elara closed her eyes. 1. Red light spread across the blade. 2. The hospital lights flickered. 3. Denise hit the button. The room flashed white. Elara screamed. The tracker blade cracked. Clara pulled hard. The black shard came free in a burst of blue blood and red sparks. Clara dropped it into the metal basin. Denise threw the lid on top. The basin shook violently, then went still. Clara breathed hard. Elara stared at her. Alive. Shaking, but alive. Clara pressed fresh gauze against the wound. Tracker removed. Denise whispered. No distress burst. The hospital remained quiet. No alarms. No explosions. No alien fleet. Clara let out a breath. An idea hit her. A terrible idea, the kind nurses get when doctors are not around to say no. "Denise, get me the defib pads." Denise stared. "On the alien blade? On the alien blade. That sentence should not exist. Move." Denise slapped the pads onto either side of the wound area. Clara adjusted the charge. Elara looked alarmed. "What is that device?" Clara said. "Human lightning." Elara's eyes widened. Denise leaned back. "I hate human lightning." The tracker whined louder. Clara grabbed the forceps again. On 3. Elara closed her eyes. 1. Red light spread across the blade. 2. The hospital lights flickered. 3. Denise hit the button. The room flashed white. Elara screamed. The tracker blade cracked. Clara pulled hard. The black shard came free in a burst of blue blood and red sparks. Clara dropped it into the metal basin. Denise threw the lid on top. The basin shook violently, then went still. Clara breathed hard. Elara stared at her. Alive. Shaking, but alive. Clara pressed fresh gauze against the wound. Tracker removed. Denise whispered. No distress burst. The hospital remained quiet. No alarms. No explosions. No alien fleet. Clara let out a breath. Then the sky outside turned white. A deep horn sounded above the city. Elara's face went pale. Denise slowly turned toward the window. "Please tell me that's a normal Oregon thing." Clara pulled back the curtain. Above Portland, the clouds had opened. Hundreds of silver and gold ships filled the night sky. They hovered silently over the hospital. Massive, beautiful, terrifying. Their lights reflected in every window. The smallest ship was larger than a football stadium. The largest covered half the city. On the street below, cars stopped. People stepped out into the rain. Phones rose. Sirens began screaming across Portland. Elara whispered, "He found me." Clara stared at the sky. "That's your father?" The clouds glowed brighter. A colossal flagship moved into view. Its hull looked like a cathedral made of silver stars. A golden symbol burned across its side. Elara's voice cracked. The Emperor's fleet. Denise whispered, "Of course her dad has a fleet." A voice boomed over the entire city. Deep, powerful, shaking the hospital windows. Humans of Earth. Every monitor in the hospital turned on at once. Every screen showed the same face. A tall alien man with silver skin, white hair, gold armor, and eyes full of fury. Elara covered her mouth. "Father," the alien emperor spoke again, "you are sheltering Princess Elara Valen, heir of the Aster throne." Clara felt every word vibrate in her chest. "Return my daughter immediately." The hospital fell into chaos. Patients screamed. Doctors ran into hallways. Security guards stared at ceiling tiles like answers might be hidden there. In the ER, someone yelled, "Is this a drill?" Another voice shouted, "This hospital cannot afford this drill." Denise grabbed Clara's arm. "We have to move her." Elara shook her head. "If I go to him, he will take me back." Clara looked at her. "And if you don't?" Elara looked out the window. The flagship's weapons began to glow. "He may believe you kidnapped me." Denise stared at Clara. "This is why we do paperwork before admitting royalty." The loudspeaker crackled again. The Emperor's voice filled every room. "You have 10 minutes." Outside, beams of golden light descended around the hospital. Alien soldiers appeared in the streets. Tall, armored, silent. They formed a perfect circle around St. Mercy. Police cars arrived, then stopped, because no one wanted to be the first person to ask the giant space army to move. Clara turned back to Elara. "Why did you run?" Elara's face trembled. "My father wants me to lead our people in war against the Koran Dominion. He believes I was born to command." "Were you?" Elara looked down. "I was born with the star mark." She pulled aside part of her armor. A glowing blue symbol shimmered near her collarbone. "My people believe it means I can awaken ancient weapons." Clara's expression softened. "And you don't want to be a weapon." Elara shook her head. "I want to be a healer." The room went quiet. Clara looked at the young alien princess on the hospital bed, powerful enough to move fleets, terrified enough to run, bleeding under a cartoon giraffe blanket. And suddenly, she did not look like royalty. She looked like a scared girl. Clara sat beside her. "My mom wanted me to become a surgeon." Elara blinked. "Is that a type of queen?" Denise snorted. Clara smiled. "No, but in my family, it felt like one." "Did you obey?" "No." "Why?" Clara looked at her hands. "Because surgeons fix one thing at a time. Nurses hold people together while everything is falling apart." Elara stared at her. Clara continued, "You don't owe anyone a life you didn't choose." A tear slipped down Elara's cheek. Then the wall exploded. Not inward. Outward. A golden beam sliced through the hallway outside the room. Denise shouted and pulled Clara down. The door flew off its hinges. 3 alien royal guards stepped inside. Their armor was white and gold. Their helmets had narrow blue visors. They raised glowing rifles. Elara sat up. "No." The lead guard aimed at Clara. "Step away from the princess." Clara stood slowly, hands raised. "She's wounded. You harmed her. I treated her. You removed Imperial tracking technology." Denise muttered. "Because it was inside her body, genius." The guard turned his weapon toward Denise. Clara moved in front of her. Elara's eyes flashed. "I said no." A burst of blue light shot from Elara's chest. The guards were thrown backward into the hall. Clara stared. Elara stared at her own hands. "I did not mean to do that." Denise looked at Clara. "I think your patient is becoming a problem." More soldiers moved outside. Clara grabbed the stretcher. "Time to go." "Where?" Denise asked. Clara looked down the hallway. "Niku Tunnel." Denise froze. "That tunnel is closed." "Is it locked?" "Yes." "Do you have the key?" "Yes." "Then it's not closed." Denise muttered something unprofessional. They rushed Elara through the old pediatric wing and into a staff elevator. The hospital shook as ships hovered above. On every floor, chaos spread. Doctors pushed patients away from windows. Security tried to direct people downstairs. A man with a broken ankle asked Clara if aliens accepted insurance. Clara shouted, "Not now, Mr. Parker." The elevator doors opened on the basement level. Emergency lights painted everything red. Clara pushed the stretcher through a narrow service corridor. Steam hissed from old pipes. Denise unlocked a heavy metal door. Beyond it was an abandoned tunnel connecting the main hospital to the old neonatal wing. The tunnel was dark, cold, long. Elara looked at the ceiling. "They will scan the building," Clara said. "Then we go where the building is ugliest." Denise nodded. No scanner respects hospital maintenance tunnels. They entered the tunnel. Above them, the Emperor spoke again. 5 minutes remain." Elara flinched at her father's voice. Clara noticed. "He loves you." Elara looked away. "He loves the version of me he can understand." Clara had no answer for that. Halfway through the tunnel, the lights died. Everything went black. Then red light appeared behind them. Royal guards had entered the tunnel. Denise cursed. Clara pushed faster. Elara tried to stand. "I can slow them. You can barely sit. I am not helpless." "No. You're injured." "There is a difference?" "Yes." Clara shoved the stretcher forward. "Helpless means you have no power. Injured means you need time." Elara stared at her, then nodded. They reached the old neonatal wing. It had been shut down years ago after budget cuts. Rows of empty rooms, dusty glass, old incubators covered in plastic sheets. Clara pushed Elara into the largest room and locked the door. Denise leaned against it, breathing hard. "We cannot hide here forever." Clara looked at Elara. "No, but maybe we can talk to him." Elara shook her head. "He will not listen. Parents rarely do at first. My father commands 7,000 warships. Mine once grounded me for 3 months, because I dyed my hair blue." Elara stared. "That is similar?" "No. But emotionally, maybe." A loud impact hit the locked door. The guards were trying to break in. Denise grabbed a metal IV pole. Clara looked around desperately. Old monitors, blank screens, dusty medical equipment, a communication panel on the wall, ancient hospital intercom. Clara's eyes narrowed. "Can your father hear hospital broadcasts?" Elara looked confused. "If transmitted strongly enough, yes." Clara turned to Denise. "Can we patch the intercom through the emergency alert system?" Denise blinked. "That is wildly illegal." "Can we?" Denise hesitated, then sighed. "I hate that the answer is yes." The door shook again. Clara helped Elara sit up. "If you want him to listen, he needs to hear your voice." Elara's hands trembled. "He will be angry." "Yes, he may command them to take me. Maybe. What if I fail?" Clara placed the microphone in her hand. "Then we try something else." Elara looked at the microphone like it was heavier than a crown. Then she pressed the button. Her voice crackled through the hospital, through every speaker, every screen, every emergency channel. "Father." The entire building went silent. Outside, the Emperor's fleet stopped moving. The Emperor's face appeared on the old monitor. His eyes widened. "Elara." She swallowed. "I am alive." His expression broke for a second. Relief, raw and powerful. Then anger returned. "Who did this to you?" "No human did. You are wounded. I was attacked before I came here." "By whom?" Elara closed her eyes. "Your own war council." The Emperor went still. Clara looked at Denise. Denise whispered, "Oh, that's bad." Elara continued. "Admiral Soren sent the tracker blade. He wanted you to believe Earth harmed me." The Emperor's face hardened. "That is impossible." Then another voice entered the transmission. Smooth, cold, older. "Your Majesty, the princess is confused." Elara's face changed. "Soren." On the screen, an alien admiral appeared beside the Emperor. Tall, thin, wearing black and gold armor. His eyes were pale and empty. He looked at Elara like she was already a problem solved. "You are injured, Princess. Human contamination may be affecting your mind." Clara stepped closer to the microphone. "Excuse me." Soren's eyes moved to her. "And who is this creature?" Clara stared at the screen. The creature who stopped your tracker blade from killing her, Denise whispered. Nice. Soren's expression did not change. Your Majesty, the humans admit they removed Imperial technology. Elara shouted. Because you put it inside me. Soren looked at the Emperor. She is unstable. The hospital must be cleansed. Clara felt the word like ice. Cleansed. Outside the windowless room, the ships began to glow again. The Emperor looked torn. Elara's voice cracked. Father, please. For the first time, Clara saw him not as an emperor, but as a parent, trapped between fear and pride. Then the door exploded inward. Royal guards rushed in, but these were not the same guards. Their armor had black markings. Soren's soldiers. Denise swung the IV pole into the first guard's helmet. It rang like a church bell. The guard fell. Denise looked surprised. I have wanted to do that all week. Clara grabbed Elara and pulled her from the bed. A guard fired. Blue energy hit an old incubator, which exploded into sparks. Elara raised one hand. A weak shield formed around them. Clara supported her. Soren's men? Clara asked. Elara nodded. They must silence me. Denise opened a side door. Then move, before they finished the sentence. They ran through the neonatal wing. Behind them, guards fired blue and black beams. Clara dragged Elara into a stairwell. Denise slammed the door shut and jammed the IV pole through the handle. That will hold for about 12 seconds. Good. We only need 11. They climbed. Elara could barely move. Clara half carried her. Where are we going? Elara asked. Roof. Denise looked horrified. Why roof? Clara said. Because everyone keeps surrounding the hospital. I want an exit they can see. That is not an exit. That is a target. Exactly. They reached the top floor. The hospital shook again. A voice echoed through the intercom. Admiral Soren. Emperor Valen. Your daughter is being taken by humans. Authorize full strike. Elara gasped. He is lying. Clara kicked open the roof access door. Rain blasted them. The roof was chaos. Wind, sirens, golden ships overhead, alien beams circling the hospital like searchlights. Below, thousands of people watched from the streets. News helicopters hovered far away. Clara pulled Elara into the open. The princess stood under the rain, wounded, shaking, but alive. The Emperor's flagship turned toward them. A massive beam of golden light fell onto the roof. The Emperor appeared inside it, not as a hologram, in person, tall, armored, terrifying. Elara whispered, Father. He stepped toward her. His face was full of fury and fear. Clara stood between them. Denise whispered, Clara, he is very large. The Emperor looked down at Clara. Move. Clara's knees wanted to obey. She did not. She said no. The Emperor's eyes flared. She is my daughter. She's my patient. The roof went silent. Even the rain seemed quieter. The Emperor stared at her. You would stand between an emperor and his child? Clara swallowed. Yes. Why? Clara looked back at Elara, then at the Emperor. Because right now, you are scaring her more than the people who hurt her. The words hit him harder than any weapon. Elara's eyes filled with tears. Father, Soren betrayed you. The Emperor looked at her, then at Clara. Then the roof doors burst open. Admiral Soren's soldiers stormed out. Behind them came Soren himself, holding a black energy blade. Your Majesty, Soren said coldly, step away from the contaminated air. The Emperor turned slowly. Soren. Soren smiled. The princess has become weak. She refuses the star weapon. She hides behind humans. She will doom our empire. Elara stood straighter. I refuse to become your weapon. Soren's smile vanished. Then you are useless. He lunged. Not at the Emperor. At Elara. Clara moved without thinking. She shoved Elara aside. The black blade struck Clara across the shoulder. Pain exploded through her body. She fell. Elara screamed. The Emperor roared. A wave of golden energy blasted Soren backward. Denise ran to Clara. Stay with me. Clara gasped. I hate roof shifts. Elara dropped beside her. Blue light spilled from her hands. I can heal her. The Emperor grabbed Elara's arm. You are too weak. Elara looked at him. I am not weak because I heal. The star mark on her chest began to glow. Not like a weapon, like dawn. Blue light spread across the roof. Across Clara's wound. Across the rain. Clara felt warmth move through her body. Pain faded. Her torn shoulder closed beneath glowing light. The Emperor stared. Soren stared. Every ship above the city went silent. Elara stood. Her hair lifted in the blue light. The star mark shone brighter. Soren backed away. No, the star mark awakens weapons, not healing. Elara's voice was steady now. You were wrong. The light expanded. It touched wounded soldiers on the roof. Human patients near windows below. A child in the ICU. An old man in room 3. Everyone felt it. Not cured of everything. Not magically fixed. But steadied. Strengthened. Held together. Clara looked up at Elara. Elara smiled through tears. I am a healer. The Emperor lowered his head. For the first time in his life, he looked ashamed. Soren screamed and raised his blade again. The Emperor did not move. Elara did. She raised one hand. A blue shield formed around Clara, Denise, and the roof. Soren's blade shattered against it. General soldiers of the Emperor's fleet rushed forward and seized him. Soren struggled. You need war. Elara stepped toward him. No, you do. The Emperor looked at his guards. Take him. Soren was dragged into the golden beam, still shouting about strength, as the rain swallowed his voice. The Emperor turned to his daughter. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then he knelt. An emperor, kneeling on a hospital roof, in front of a wounded princess, a bleeding nurse, and a very angry supervisor holding an IV pole. Elara, he said quietly, I thought I was protecting you. Elara's voice trembled. You were preparing me to disappear. The Emperor closed his eyes. I was afraid. So was I. He looked up. Will you come home? Elara looked at Clara. Clara gave her a tired smile. That's your choice. Elara turned back to her father. I will come home, but not as your weapon. The Emperor bowed his head. As our healer. Elara nodded. As myself. The Golden Fleet slowly powered down. Weapons dimmed. The circle around the hospital opened. Alien soldiers lowered their rifles. Across Portland, people began to cheer. At first quietly, then louder. Then the whole city seemed to exhale. Denise helped Clara sit up. You know, Denise said, when I told you no hero stuff, this is exactly what I meant. Clara looked at the alien fleet above them. Technically, I stayed on hospital property. Denise stared at her. I am putting that in your disciplinary note. By morning, St. Mercy Hospital was on every screen in the world. News anchors called it the first contact hospital incident. Online, people called Clara the space nurse. Clara hated it immediately. The man in room 3 insisted he had helped by warning everyone about the angry blood pressure cuff. Nobody corrected him. Government officials arrived by sunrise. So did military teams. So did scientists. So did 3 different hospital administrators, asking who was going to pay for the roof. Denise pointed at the sky. Send the invoice upward. The Emperor's fleet remained above Portland for 1 day. Not as a threat, as an apology. Their engineers repaired the ambulance bay, then the pediatric wing, then the elevators. One alien engineer listened to the 3rd floor ice machine, went pale, and declared it haunted. Clara felt vindicated. Elara visited every floor before leaving. She walked through the ICU, the ER, the pediatric wing. Patients waved. Some cried. Some asked for selfies. Elara did not understand selfies, but accepted them solemnly. When she reached room 3, the old man pointed at his blood pressure cuff. It tried to kill me. Elara placed a glowing hand on the machine, then looked at Clara. This device is angry. The old man shouted. I knew it. Clara covered her face. Later that evening, Elara stood in the ambulance bay where she had first crashed. The silver escape pod was gone. In its place stood a beam of soft golden light. The Emperor waited nearby. Less terrifying now, still large, but quieter. Elara turned to Clara. "You saved me before you knew who I was." Clara shrugged. "You were bleeding in my ambulance bay." "That is enough? For me?" "Yes." Elara reached up and removed a small crystal from her repaired circlet. It glowed blue-white. She placed it in Clara's hand. "If you ever need help, call me." Clara looked at the crystal. "What happens if I accidentally sit on it?" Elara smiled. "A royal medical fleet may arrive." Clara carefully placed it in her pocket. "Good to know." Denise stepped forward. "And if we need replacement monitors?" The Emperor looked confused. Clara whispered, "She's serious." The Emperor nodded solemnly. "You will receive monitors." Denise smiled for the first time in 12 hours. "I like aliens now." Elara hugged Clara. At first, she did it like someone who had only read about hugging in a manual. Then she held on tighter. "Thank you," Elara whispered. Clara's eyes softened. "Go be a healer." Elara stepped back into the golden beam. The Emperor joined her. Before the light took them, he looked at Clara. "You stood against me when I was wrong." Clara swallowed. "Yes." He nodded. "Do so again, if needed." Clara smiled faintly. "Try not to need it." For the first time, the Emperor smiled. Then they were gone. The fleet rose into the morning sky, silent and bright, until the clouds closed behind them. Life at St. Mercy Hospital returned to normal, mostly. The ambulance bay had a new wall that shimmered slightly under moonlight. The elevators no longer groaned. The coffee machine still made terrible coffee, because apparently alien technology had limits. Clara went back to night shift. Patients came in. Monitors beeped. Denise complained. The third-floor ice machine remained suspicious, and Clara kept the blue crystal in her locker, inside an old coffee mug that said, "World's okayest nurse." 3 months later, at 2:13 in the morning, the emergency room was quiet again. Almost. Clara stood near the nurse's station, pouring herself another cup of questionable coffee. Denise was arguing with a printer. Room 3 was empty, for once. Then Clara's locker began to glow. Soft blue light spilled from the staff room. Clara froze. Denise slowly turned. "No." Clara set down her coffee. The crystal pulsed. Once. Twice. Then Elara's voice filled the room. "Clara Bennett." Clara closed her eyes. "Please don't be a space war." Elara sounded nervous. "I require medical assistance." Clara grabbed a trauma kit. Denise groaned. "What kind of assistance?" A pause. Then Elara said, "My father has attempted to make hospital coffee for peace negotiations." Clara stared. Denise whispered, "That actually might be an emergency." Clara picked up the crystal. Outside, above the rainy Portland sky, one small golden ship appeared between the clouds. Clara sighed, checked her watch, and smiled, because nothing normal ever happened after 2 a.m., especially when your patient was a princess from the stars.